Hi, and welcome to part 3 of this Blender mini-series. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use shading, which is for making a scene. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is texture each of these chairs, because at the moment they look pretty boring. So, I've already prepared one earlier, and basically the idea is we're going to make 2 different materials for each. So the top one is going to be a lighter texture and the bottom one's going to be a darker wood. So here I've split it up into 2 materials. So I'm going to show you how to do that on another chair. So I'm just going to move this one and isolate it just so we can work with it a little bit easier. Like that. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go into edit mode, and we've got all the vertices. So on this side near where you've got the modifier, you're going to have to go down to here, which is material properties, and we're going to click new, and you can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call the top one the backing of the chair, and I'm going to call the other one the bottom of the chair. Okay, so first, just for simplicity, I'm going to assign certain parts for the backing. So if we click the Y, it's just going to make life a bit easier. And what we're going to do is we're going to click Alt Z, and this makes the whole thing transparent like this, so you can see all the vertices. I'll just go back to here, and I'm going to click Shift, and I'm going to select all those, and I'm going to want to select just like one line of this. I'm going to select holding Shift while I do this, so all the top ones stay just up to there. So when we look back at the chair, it's just this area that has it assigned. And I'm going to click Assign here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new material, which I could have done before, but I hadn't. And I'm going to click plus and new, and we're going to call this the bottom. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing, go back into edit mode, make sure we go into the bottom, and we're going to select all the ones we didn't select for the other one. So not this top one that we selected before, and we're just going to make sure we get everything, because if we don't, it's going to look very strange, to say the least. And there we go, we click Assign, perfect, and Alt Z, we go back to solid mode and we click off it, and now we have our 2 materials. So for now I'm just going to delete these other chairs because I'm going to copy and paste it just to save a bit of time and effort. Let's go back into object mode, and we're just going to delete the other ones. Now, we'll move it back down. We don't really need to have it perfect at the moment because we can make up our scene a little bit later. Now, texturing is one of the more important parts. You need to find, you can either take a photo and make a UV map, which is quite difficult, or you could get some free textures online, and the best website to use for that is this one. It's called Polyhaven, and it has free models and free textures and free HDIs, which aren't as important. So if you click Browse Textures, you get about 300 free textures, and I'll show you how to install and use them. So I have been using just the fine grained wood texture, and I also use the plywood texture, so you can use those if you want, but you can pick anything that you'd like if you want a different wood. So if I click anyone, you can choose different resolutions. 2K in my opinion is enough. 4K is all right as well. I wouldn't go 8K unless you're doing something very intensive. I'd just stick to 2K, and you just click download. I've already downloaded to save some time, and it should appear in your downloads thing. So I would make a file for textures like I have on my desktop. This is just on my desktop. And you'll have them and it'll be in a zip file. And basically a zip file is like a little package. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to right click and you are going to click extract here. Or you can click extract all, either way. You press extract, wait for it to extract, and there you go. Then you can just delete the zip file, and now you've got everything in a nice little package. Okay, so we go back to Blender and we're going to click on shading, and we're going to find our chair. Now that we have our chair, we are going to, just to see whether the different textures work, we're going to click on the different textures. On the bottom, I'm just going to change, this is just called nodes. So basically what a node is they're different little outputs and you can change very specific areas of the texture. This is just the basic one. You can just, usually what you would do is you just click add up here if not already. If you're looking for a specific node, I recommend clicking Shift A and you can just search for one. Otherwise, you can go under different categories and find a specific one, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But this one is the most important one. It is basically just adjusting the roughness and that. So I'm just going to click on the base color and just click it to blue, and as we can see it is separated, and we can click on the bottom and I don't know, we can pick red or something like that. Oop, not working. We're going to click assign and go back into edit mode, object mode, sorry. We're going to go into shading and hopefully the bottom one now works. There we go. Okay, I'm not sure why that didn't work. If that happens, you can just make a new tutorial and redo it. Now, each of these, make sure you save when you exit Blender, because at the moment we're going to exit and I'm going to show you how we're going to make each of these a different texture. So, inside each of these, there will be a Blender file, and if you open that, it's going to show you the way that it wants you to wire up the nodes. So that's the easiest way of doing it. I would recommend copying all these. So over here we have a bunch of nodes. You can just copy those and we can just exit this. So this is for the dirty wood planks. So don't really need to save because yep. So we go back into Blender and we're just going to open up our chair file. Now it depends on which chair you want it to be. You can have it as the bottom or the top one. I'm going to have the dirtier wood as the backing, so we're just going to delete all this and we're going to copy and paste. Okay, the clipboard is empty, that is not good. Okay, Since it's a bit difficult just to simply copy and paste it if you have a weaker computer, just because it's hard for it to open two different things, I recommend that you just take a screenshot of it. So I'm just going to open the other file. Okay, so effectively what you want to do is, for the material, you are going to make sure you have the textures in a place that you know where they are. So first off, we're going to need to get a texture file. So if we go Shift A, we look texture, and we'll have, texture, and there should be image texture, and that's the one we're going to be using. So we click open, we go into our texture folder, and we're going to do the fine grain wood, depends on what you would like to do, and we are going to do the color one, and we're going to plug this one right into the base color. And what we're going to do is, all these settings are already fine, and right away you can see we have this right there. Now there are a few other things we have to do. So we're going to need to get a mapping and a texture coordinate one, and this is going to be adding depth. So Shift A, so we're going to do mapping, and Shift A, texture coordinate. Coordinate. We click there, and UV into the vector, and vector is just going to plug into all the next ones. So, like so. Now, we are going to copy and paste this image texture, and we're going to add in the other files. The other files are very similar, but they simply just add texture. So for this one, we're going to be using the rough one, and that's going to add roughness. So when we click open, we're going to make sure it's the roughness one, and we want this to be non-color because it's looking at a black and white image when it's referencing them. We plug that into the vector. Apologies, a bit finicky. And then we're going to put the alpha, I'm pretty sure. No, we're going to put the color into the roughness over here. Okay, now we have one more to put in, and we copy and paste that, and we're going to get another one, and we're going to do the final one, and we're going to look in our files for the last one, which is the normal one, and this is going to add the texture. So we're going to get the vector plug, and we're going to put it into the normal texture. And then what we're going to do is, we're not actually going to put it in, we're going to get a normal map, and we're going to put it into the normal section. So Control Shift A, and we're going to look up vector normal map. I'm going to put normal map here, and I believe we use color, and then once I've done that, we're going to plug it into the normal, like so. And there we go. We got a nice texture at the bottom. Now, what you can do is, you can see it's quite stretched, and what you're going to want to do is, you want to go back to layout, make sure you are in edit mode, and click A, then you're going to click U, and we're going to click Smart UV Project, click OK, and when we go back to shading, it should be perfectly fine. There we go. Now, we're going to do the same thing for the top, and we're going to click the backing. Now, you're just going to want to copy and paste the same textures on the other texture you're going to use. It's not too hard. I've just copied and pasted it, and we are going to make sure. Oh, another thing to note is you want to make sure that the normal map is also non-colored. So instead of linear, we're going to do non-color. Anyway, we go back into backing, and we're just going to change the texture. So this time, instead of the fine grain wood, I'm going to be using we're going to use the wood planks. So we click textures, and this one's slightly different. We're going to use click diff. And there we go, we've got the texture immediately. Now, same thing for the roughness one. We are going to go there, and instead we'll go back to wood planks, and we're going to click the roughness one. Now, this is like most textures, they'll have usually 4 nodes, image texture nodes, and they will have, with a normal map, they'll also have a dispersion one. So what you're going to, it's pretty much the same, except we're going to add a 4th one. So when we go here, we're just going to keep on editing them. This is the normal one. We go in here, click the normal one, open image, and make sure that's non-color. Control C, Control V. Now this final one is slightly different. It's not actually going to plug into our main node. Instead, it's going to plug into just what you see immediately. So we make sure that vector is in, and we are going to click dispersion, texture, DISP, open image. Make sure that should be non-color as well. Yep. So we click non-color. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it into a displacement map. And that's going to displace the texture a little bit, so it gives a sense of roughness. So Shift A, displacement, vector displacement, because that has 2 things. And we're going to do 0.6, and the other value is 0.01. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug that into the normal terminal. Sorry, we're going to put that into displacement at the very top. So I'm going to bring this down here, and we're going to put that into the displacement node. And there we go. Perfect. Now we've got a chair. Now you can change it. At the moment, it's not the most perfect chair texture, so you can change it however you want. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edit this scene just so we can have a few more chairs, and we're going to click G on the Z axis. Okay, now that we have our scene like this, we are going to take a photo. So we're going back to layout and we're going to do Shift A and we're going to add a plane, scale it up, and we're just going to make sure that our chair is on the floor. It seems a little bit down, so we're just going to do G and then we're going to do like this. So we're going to do G, Z, and just move it down till we roughly get to the bottom. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do another object, plane. We're going to go on this side and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to go back, scale it up quite large, just so we sort of get like a photo booth going. And what we're going to do, make sure to Alt Z off, and then G, and then along the Y axis like this. You can make it even larger if you would like. It's better the largest possible. And we're going to go back to shading. Now it depends on what you want, what color you want the background. You can texture it if you want. In my opinion, it's just easier if we just make it all black. It looks quite sleek, like this. And then we're going to do the same with the back color. We're going to make it quite dark. Maybe make the bottom a little bit darker. Anyway, now what we're going to want to do is you're going to click this, and this is the light source, and you can move this around wherever you want. Now, I recommend you click sun, and then you can click rotate because it's just going to give it a really nice look to it, like so. And you're going to want to turn it right down, probably to 15 or something. If you want, you can go to the point light. That's more for indoorsy light, which is probably more suitable. But if you're doing outside, I would recommend the sun. Then you also have the camera, which you need to find. So our camera is over here. I'm just going to click G, and you can click over here to view what the camera is viewing, like so. So right now it's not facing the correct way. So I'm going to go up here and rotate it like this. And hopefully that looks a little better. Maybe we can bring it a bit closer. And we'll move it a little bit more down just to get it a bit more nicer. I might point it up a little bit and rotate it a bit more upwards. G, Z, down. And we've got a bit of an angle. Okay. Depends on how you want it. It'll take a little while to get a good angle, but if you're happy with that, that's fine. Now what you can do is you can click to the render viewpoint, and you are going to want to click on the scene. And to make it really nice, you click cycles. Just a word of warning, if you're using a school computer, it's going to have quite a lot of trouble rendering in cycles, but when you take the photo, that should be fine. So let's just get out of this view for now. And I'm going to use the sun. And we're going to edit the camera movement. This is entirely optional, and just get it until you have a picture. You can click G if you want to move while you're on the camera, just for some finer details. We click here, and here we go. This is going to be our picture. Now that we have it, make sure if you're using cycles, you have it on your GPU. If you have an external GPU, most laptops will not. Anyway, then you click F12 and it will generate a photo for you. And there you go. You can click image, and then you can click save. once it's done loading. Now that the render is finished, we have this image. You can turn up the resolution at the moment. You can see it's not the best resolution, but you can just click image and then save as, and then save it to wherever you like. So I'll click chair and table, save as image, and there you go. Hope you have learned something about shading and hope this was useful to you. It's important that you just learn these basic skills, and this will help you in future projects. Thank you for watching.